Hey, good morning. It's a late one, of course, because if you've been following the Facebook post that I made, we were at the emergency room with Beth. So I thought I should do a little video and let everybody know that she is actually okay. I'm going to have to be relaying onto you secondhand what the Filipino explanation for all of this. This morning, early this morning, I don't know, maybe 1:30, something like that, Beth is in a lot of pain around the chest here in the center. It's not heart, although Beth does say that she has heart murmurs. So if I appear like a man who is drenched in confusion, that will be a pretty accurate description, because when it comes to women, oh my God, am I going to get sexist? My observation, I just don't understand what's going on. I feel very much the stranger in a strange land. Things are different here, okay? So this almost goes on from the video that was cut short yesterday. It's a confusion. Some of it is brought on by the current madness that we've been going through for the last 2 years, which actually I'm not allowed to mention, so much for free speech, because I can be shall I say disciplined for even mentioning that word, even though it is the primary word that motivates all action when you go to a hospital. So, first the pain, then the declaration that we need to go to the hospital. I ask her to think carefully, because the hospital nowadays, any hospital, it seems to me, is a minefield of confusion. Well, she still wanted to go, so into the truck in the middle of the night and go down. The emergency room is empty. The emergency room in Taliban is like 4 beds, and then a skeleton staff and people sleeping on cots and things like that. You know, staff. All the staff are very nice, by the way. Okay, so there's no criticism, and they're working under poor conditions, I think. So when we arrived, what passed as the first part of the emergency room is actually outside under a tent, under a canopy. One of those event canopies, okay, like that are 15 feet by 15 feet. And there are 2 beds on under this canopy, and on one of the beds, two people are sleeping. 2 ladies are sleeping, camped out, I guess, because there's nobody coming in under emergency procedure. So they are staff, and then there's one gentleman who is there. The hierarchy in the hospital here is that the helpers are dressed in a darker uniform, and then in blazing white the nurses are in a different uniform. So we're dealt with first of all by these people. But Beth goes onto the bed. First of all, I think we had to go in and do some paperwork. Isn't that always the way? Yes, I know that you're dying, sir, but can you just wait till we do the paperwork? It's all a confusing state for me. But anyway, just to walk it through, you've got to understand that this is all my fault because I don't speak the language. So I'm listening to all of this talk go on, and it's about somebody that I love very much, and I need to know what is happening. Now, one of the things that I picked up from Beth is that in Visayan, it takes a huge amount of talk to say no. I'm exaggerating there, but it is true that what she told me, I've listened, I've said, can you ask if this is happening on Tuesday? And Beth will then go in and she'll go, and I'll be like this, and then finally I'll say, what did she say? She'll tell me, she said no. I said, but you've been talking for 5 minutes, how can she just have said no? But she said, well, it takes a lot to say certain things in Visayan. So I'm at their mercy because of my own laziness. So we go in, and eventually some kind of then, well, the man that is there, he comes over and he makes a paper, and I heard the word vax, and so I said, she's not having the vax. I'm gonna get strung up for saying this if Beth will even post this video. She's not having the vax. No sir, I wanted to know if she had the vax. So no. So then I hear the word test, and I said to Beth, you're not having any swab tests. The swab test, it's on a stick that looks like it's about 6 or 7 inches long. I'm a carpenter, I know what an inch looks like, okay? And this looks like an invasive procedure because the thing goes up. My nose is not 6 or 7 inches long, so that thing is going up into regions unknown, and I don't agree with it. We're allowed to agree with it, right? The Nuremberg Code allows that. It is not legal, it is not right to go against a person's sovereignty as a person. You are a sovereign person. You are your own person, and you cannot have a medical procedure forced on you by a so-called law. They sorted all of this out after old Adolf tried to eliminate the Jewish race, okay, that you couldn't do this. Mengele did all of his experiments, which apparently we sometimes benefit from because of the Nazis had a way of, they recorded everything, they filmed everything. That's why we have so much information about this, and it all went to Nuremberg, to The Hague, where they tried people like who Eichmann is the one that comes to right. Mengele, I think that they found him eventually. There was a movie about it. So all of this is all being sorted out after the Second World War, and now we are going against it. And if you say no, you must be a conspiracy theorist. It's not true that it's all conspiracy, because when we went in this morning and I hear the word swab test, I said no. So then a lady in white comes in and she looks at me, but it's the protocol. I said, it may well be the protocol, but you cannot refuse someone medical treatment because they won't take a test for something that is not showing any symptoms. Why should you do that? You're not taking a test for anything else. Cancer, diabetes, pneumonia, the ordinary flu, that one that's killing tens of thousands of people every year. So If I'm raising my voice, I can't say I'm sorry. This has caused a division of people. It's caused, it's created a second class of people who are not allowed to speak their mind. They're not allowed to talk about an invasive procedure for, and this is what I keep on hearing, this dreaded virus, which is supposed to be killing people, it has never been isolated. Now, for as little as I know and what I've read, if a virus shows itself and we start to see symptoms which are unfamiliar to us, we now have to isolate that virus. Once it is isolated, then they can work at doing a vaccine. What's happened with this dreaded, unnameable name virus is it has never been isolated. So if it's never been isolated, it cannot have a vaccine. So what we're looking at is not a vaccine, it's something else. Sorry, I'll take a breath, okay? So we brush aside the protocol, and eventually it's decided that she can go from the outside to the inside ER, which had nobody there. So we go in and occupy a bed in the ER, and then they put her on a saline drip to hydrate her, which is a very common thing here in the Philippines, because it's a common thing to happen that people are dehydrated. So the first thing that they do, which will always be a success, is to rehydrate the person, and the drip goes into the arm, and you're better for it. And it's I don't know that it has any side effects. So that and then finally a doctor comes in. Actually, the doctor arrived while we were on the outside, and he gives a cursory examination to Beth, testing her for pain into the chest, just below the rib cage. And then we end up in the ER. Beth has the drip, and then they come in, and 3 different syringes, which I ask what they're for, only because I really don't want Beth to be receiving stuff that is associated with the existing so-called, for me, fake vaccines. So it turns out that they are for a mixed cocktail for the pain, because Beth is complaining that the pain is extreme, which is why we went in. I've got a motorcycle behind me. I'm allowing him to go through. Okay, there he went through. He's a working man. He's got 4 sacks of rice on his motorcycle. Isn't a motorcycle a wonderful thing? So, with the painkillers, Beth starts to feel better. We haven't had any medical treatment as far as I can see, but the doctor apparently confirms with her, or the nurse confirms with Beth, that she has a hyper. Now, I know you're all going to ask me, what's a hyper? which is where I become the stranger in the strange land. I thought if you said hyper, you had to attach it. It has to be a hyper something. But no, it's become a hyper here, as far as I can glean from the information I hear. So, she has a hyper, which I guess in common law, not common law, in layman's terms, I'm mixing my own terms here, in layman's terms means that she drives herself too much, she works too much, too long, and eventually, because we're doing so much, not making ourselves out to be heroes. Actually, this is what we do, and this is what we love, and we are passionate about it, and we're trying to help and change things in our own way. It's only the two of us with a lot of people helping, right? But at the controls, Beth and I, and we're doing what we can, but we have too much going. Now, because of my advancing years, and they're advancing, it seems, at the speed of light sometimes, but I'll be 83 in July. I simply cannot do it. I have to take time. I have to take time to myself. This, in effect, is time to myself, because I'm alone in the truck. If I choose to, I can do a video like this, or I can simply play my music. So I have a CD which is the current one that I'm playing to death, which is The Planet Suite by Gustav Holst, and I love that music. It's very complex, and I can listen to it as a musician and listen to how the orchestration was done for a wonderful orchestra. So this is part of my off time. And Beth, to her credit, doesn't expect the old man to act as if he's a 24-year-old athlete. So I take time to myself. I try to take Beth into the same kind of mindset. We had, once I got her out of the hospital yesterday and on the way home, I must admit that I really did go on at her about how she needs to change her diet and her routine. And why, I'm asking, why could we not finish work at 3 o'clock? Bearing in mind that when we go home, we answer any query, any comment that we can in that time. We eat dinner with the family very late, usually certainly long after 8 o'clock. I can't change that. When you're a stranger in a strange land, you got to be careful about going around stamping your feet saying, I know better and I want this to be before 8 o'clock. You go in and you eat dinner for when it's served. The joy for me is to eat dinner with the whole family, with the girls, Talik and Bibi and Lovely and DC, and Nanai and our wonderful helper who is the housekeeper and keeps the house going, and that's Vic. And sometimes we can even persuade Lena. And once we have eaten, the second shift comes in, but I'm not there for the second shift, and Rado and his son and whoever are the girls who are here and using the generator to charge their phones and be able to have light and so on, which sometimes can be 3 or 4 or 5 of our students who come in and avail themselves of the blessings that we have. So and even after that, Beth will work until she falls asleep. It's our way of life. Sometimes I long for a conversation, but there's just too much going on. So that was our day. Yes, our day's ending yesterday. Now I'm going into town and I have stuff to do. I have to go to the bank, so I can't be there, but Beth is in good hands because Nana is there. Her mom will take very good care of her, so I've actually had to tell Lovely to let Beth rest. Let her rest. Don't keep going in. She has a cry that will wake the dead, going, Auntie Beth, Auntie Beth! And she calls, and Beth has to answer some important request, like, is it Tuesday, or you know what I mean, a kid. So that's my my update, Beth is now at home. To bring it all together, Beth is now at home. She is actually resting. We're in the process of moving from the very small guest house to the much larger, cooler area, many windows and beautiful view, our extension, which is officially the office and which is going to do double duty for a little while until we can get our house built. No need to go into other stuff about the red house. It's coming down, no matter what anybody thinks. It's coming down. It's ruined. Very sad, but that's the reality of life, isn't it? Odette came in, the super typhoon, did her work and left, and we are cleaning up the mess. So thanks for being with me and for caring about Beth. Thank you all for getting in touch. I will get round, or Beth may get round to saying thank you if she feels okay. If not, I will get round eventually to thanking you all, but I'm thanking you all here now for your prayers, for your love and caring, and let's keep on offering a prayer for this wonderful woman.